The following is from the Agency for Instructional Technology, AIT.
Understand the basic proportions of the human figure, then you're ready to study how the body moves. Paul will demonstrate human figures in action and how they differ from static ones.
If you understand the parts of the body and how they move, then you can draw action figures. There's one part, the hip, the rib cage, of course the head, and the upper arm, upper leg, and lower leg. That's the way a figure moves, a realistic figure. Now I can make a cartoon figure, make it move the same way. And cartoon figures will move the same way a realistic figure will, except they will move faster. Let's start with the head. Now the difference in a cartoon, it's an exaggeration of the proportions. But the parts of the body and the movement are the same. Head, rib cage, hip block. Now I may exaggerate movement here. And we remember that the arms and legs on one side of a body always work in opposite directions. Parts are the same, they're simply exaggerated. Let's take a still figure and move it around. Put it into action. Here's a still figure. You have the head, rib cage, pelvic region or hip block, and the arms and legs. Now I can move those around in different directions, and it will suggest different action. There's a rib cage. Here's a hip block. Put the head here, and we'll free the arms into an active pose. Upper arm, lower arm, hands. Upper arm, lower arm, hand. Now here's something to remember. The rib cage, the top and the bottom are always parallel. On the hip block, the top and the bottom are always parallel. Don't bend those. They only bend right here and here, but they don't bend in between. Upper leg and lower leg. And I'm not trying for any detail here. The idea is to show how they move, and when they move, the kind of motion that they show, or better yet, the kind you want, and then you design them that way. From a still figure, this could be a jumping man or a falling man. And down here, let's try one side view. The proportions and the parts of the body will be exactly the same. The difference is the rib cage is thinner at side view, and so is the hip block. See, I'm using the same parts of the body, and they bend at the same places, but in a side view, it's simply not as wide. Now we can do this all day long, and it's a lot of fun. You might try this. Just making different action figures. We can even rib cage, hip block, head, upper arm, lower arm, and the faraway upper arm and lower arm, upper, lower leg. Same parts of the body moving at the same joints in different positions create different action. It's as if you had a mannequin and you could move it all around. And you can even show some depth or perspective. Upper arm, and, big word, foreshortening. We'll get to that at another time. Now here you're looking down like this. Upper leg, lower leg. It looks like a boxer or a football player. So this is fun sometimes. Just sketch. Fill a page up with action figures doing different things. You become very familiar and very confident after you draw. Remember the parts of the body, where they move, and their relationship one to another. At times, you may want to draw an action figure in relation to a still object. In this case, stairs. Suppose I want a person going up a stair, walking up the stair here. It's best to draw the stair first. If you try to draw the figure first and make the stair fit, it never will. So draw the stair first and make the figure conform to the stair as it is in real life. So I'll have a foot here, and you draw up in this case. Start with the foot and the lower leg and draw up. Now I'm drawing lightly, and I'll come back later and darken it. But here's the lower leg, here's the foot, here's the upper leg, and then we'd have the hip block up here. Then the rib cage, and the faraway leg over here. Now let me darken those, and we can see. Upper leg, lower leg. The heel is off the stair. Faraway leg. Hip block. And then I can add the head last, only in this case. Usually I have the head drawn before that. Now, the close-up leg is back, so the close-up arm will go forward. As you remember, they work opposite. The arms and legs on the same side will work opposite. This man's carrying a tray and an object here, could be food. So the faraway leg is coming forward, then the faraway arm will be back, like this. And the man may be a waiter, bellhop, see, we started by drawing the stair first, and then the difference here is we drew up from the stairs, starting with the feet. But all the parts of the body are there. There's the hip block, the rib cage, upper leg, lower leg, upper leg, lower leg, upper arm, lower arm. And that's something to remember. If he was moving over the ground or sitting on a chair, you'd do the same thing. Draw the stationary object first, and then the figure must conform to that. And it's not really that hard. It's a lot of fun practicing figures drawn in relation to other objects.
Try filling a page with figures in action. Keep in mind the proportions of the human body. Locate joints so limbs bend in their proper location. Also, remember to move arms and legs which are on the same side of the body in opposite directions. A right leg moving forward means the right arm is moving back.
If you have a figure coming down the stairs, it's not really a lot different than a figure going up the stairs. Proportions are, of course, the same. Movement is the same as far as the joints are concerned. But you draw up from the base, as I did in the other figure. Now that's pretty light. Let me take a darker. This leg is forward, so this arm will be back. And this arm will be forward, the far away arm. And put a tray out here, something on the tray, the head of the figure here, and as before, the arms and legs on the same side work opposite. And after you have the figure pretty well drawn, you can costume it. In art, we call it sometimes in drawing draping. Put a skirt here. And later, you could color. And you could have a picture of, instead of one figure here, we'd have two figures. And always remember where the parts of the body move. The joints here, here. And last, the shape.
Drawing a figure in action means understanding the parts of the body and how they move. You have to think about the center of balance and what joints would be bent. Observing and practicing are the best ways to learn how to make your figures move. Drawing with Paul Ringler is produced by the Agency for Instructional Technology in association with the Oklahoma Educational Television Authority.